Hey, it's Vanessa Hardy from Long and Foster, and we've been talking about custom home construction. And one of the big parts of building a custom home is selecting a builder. So I wanted to give a little bit of time to how do you select a builder for your custom home. I've got 5 suggestions that I want to go through in this video. And number one of those 5, you want to look at the other homes that builder has completed. So that you could do in a few ways. So if you're buying a home from a larger builder, you can do a custom home from a lot of larger builders, like say maybe Stanley Martin. There are larger builders who will do a custom home, and so that's really easy to go to one of their communities. A larger builder will have lots of other communities. You can look at their stock homes, but that larger builder may have a program where they can build on your lot. So that makes it easy because you can go right into one of their homes, ask as many questions of the sales agent. You could talk to their construction head and really get a sense of what construction with this builder would be like. So that's one idea. But a lot of people want a much more personal process. They want a really much more customized home. So they won't go to those larger builders who have a build on your lot process. So a smaller builder may not have a model home. A smaller builder may have 10 homes in the neighborhood that they've built, and maybe they've got a couple under construction right now. So here's what you want to do. That builder likely has a few homeowners that they have an agreement with, where either people will walk you through a home that's completed, or they'll tell you, hey, I have a relationship with this homeowner. I built a home for them. And you can call this homeowner and speak candidly to that homeowner. They'll take you around their house, that sort of thing. So there are going to be some custom home builders where they'll have a list of references, and they'll have a home you can actually walk through, and they'll tell you it's okay. You can contact John Smith, previous client, and talk candidly about the process. Here's what I would suggest. This way, you're getting a completely, I think, unbiased opinion. When you're driving through neighborhoods, I always suggest this to people who are looking for lots. Drive through neighborhoods, jot down homes that are under construction. Usually, you'll see the name of the builder on that home. Look at homes that are already completed, especially ones that you can tell this home was recently built, maybe within the last 2 or 3 years. So if you're looking in the city of Falls Church, I use the city of Falls Church a lot because it's a small area and there are a lot of infill lots, a lot of smaller houses that were knocked down and a new home is now there. If you're driving around through the city of Falls Church and you see a home that you really like, you jot down that address. You or your realtor should be able to find out who built that house. So it may, on tax records, it may just look like an LLC sold the house, but you can find out who the builder was behind that LLC. And very often, if you know you like this neighborhood and you're driving around on a Saturday morning, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., there are going to be people outside doing yard work. You can stop, introduce yourself. Hey, I really love this house. It looks like a great build. Are you open to just talking to me for a few minutes about your experience, because I'm looking for a builder? Let me tell you something. It's almost 10 times out of 10, you're going to have a hard time getting that person to stop talking. People like to talk about their experiences with home buying, and especially with a custom build. So if you're in the neighborhood and you know you see some houses that you really like, and someone's out there working on the house, I'd pull my car over, introduce myself, and just tell them, hey, I'm looking for a builder. Can you tell me about your experience with this build? Because that is how you get a really unbiased, honest opinion about what that building experience was like. Now, if you get the opportunity to speak to someone who has built with that particular builder, so you're looking at ABC Construction Inc., to build your custom home, and you've been able to get in touch with someone who has built with that company. So when you're asking questions, one of the questions I think you should ask is, okay, now that homeowner, you've gone through this whole process, what would you do differently? That that's going to elicit a lot of responses. And then of course, well, what was it about the builder? Were there any pieces of the process that you hadn't thought of, that maybe the builder didn't come up with, and it was a surprise that maybe didn't work out for them, or a surprise and the builder really helped to guide them through an obstacle? Because there are going to be obstacles. There are going to be delays. You're going to have to deal with weather. You can't control it. I mean, you remember when we had the problem getting material into our country from overseas, and all of our prices went up. Issues like that that could be completely outside of the control of the builder, and maybe parties didn't take that into account. So you want to find out if that homeowner had any surprises, if there are things that they're looking back on now and they would do differently. And they may wind up talking about how we would have made the kitchen island bigger, or we would have changed the way we laid out the closets. That's good to know. But specifically about the relationship with the builder, you want to find out if looking back, there were things they wish they had put in the contract, or they wish they had looked at more closely in the contract, things like that. But that homeowner is going to be your best resource. Okay, so the third thing that you want to consider is going to be the actual bids. When you're looking for a builder, you absolutely do not want to choose the cheapest builder, because that's the kind of thing that's going to get you a cheaply built house, and that's going to cost you a lot of money in the long run. So when you're looking at the bids, you don't just want to choose the cheapest. But the main thing is, you want to know, if you're looking at two bids for $800,000 to build a house, you want to make sure you're actually looking and comparing apples to apples. So the two $800,000 bids, are they actually going to build you the same house? So you want to see how they come up to $800,000. And you want to check for contingencies. What kind of fees are involved if you change your mind on, hey, I thought I wanted these drawer pulls, but actually I want these drawer pulls. Does that cost you money? And you want to see, when you're comparing, you want to see how each builder is going to handle that. Your mind will be blown with all of the selections you're going to have to make in a custom home. So where if you go and buy a home with Toll Brothers, even though you go to the design center and it seems like you're making a lot of choices, when it comes to building a home from scratch, you're going to make a lot more choices than that. And if you change your mind, you want to know how much that's going to cost if you change your mind during the process on whatever. If you're changing your mind on flooring, or for cabinet style, whatever, or even moving a wall around. So you want to see that in the contract, and then compare that sort of thing, so that you know those two $800,000 contracts are actually going to build the same house. So the fourth thing to think about when you are selecting a builder, consider what your communication is like right now with that builder. I can think of times that I've been trying to get a builder on the phone and it's just impossible. So if you're in the process of selecting a builder, and it's hard to talk to the person, or they're constantly texting you. And I understand people are busy, especially in construction. That can be a really tough job. But keep that in mind, because if that's what you're getting when you're just shopping around, it may be even worse when it's time for them to start building your house. And that's when you really want to talk to someone, and it's just really hard to get in touch with them. And the fifth thing, and this is very important, you want to do your homework on their licensing. You want to make sure that they have all of the licenses that they need in your jurisdiction. And I'll add this couple of things. If you are building in a place like Arlington, Arlington is so persnickety about environmental engineering. They're very careful about protecting the environment and the Chesapeake Bay. So it helps if you're going to build a house in a place like Arlington. You probably want to stick with a builder who's very familiar with Arlington, an architect who's very familiar with Arlington, so and that they've got teams of engineers and such that they're in relationships with. Everyone is familiar with the way Arlington operates, and that's going to help a lot to avoid pitfalls and big surprises when Arlington tells you you can't do this because it's covering too much of the property because of this and that and the water runoff and all this other kind of stuff. So so that's very important in a place like Arlington. And I would suggest, of course, you want to ask around for friends. If you've got friends who've done major construction work, you want to talk to them for referrals. And if you're financing this, you definitely want to talk to your lender, because if you're working with a lender who is doing construction to permanent type financing, then surely they want to know you're choosing a solid builder. They likely have relationships with solid builders, and they can point you in the direction of 2 or 3 builders to interview and start your selection process right there. It is the custom home process is a crazy process, but in the end, to actually get the home that you really want, I mean, it's just so rewarding. So I help buyers and sellers navigate processes just like this. So please use me as a resource. I'd be happy to refer you to lenders or builders. I'd be happy to help you with lot selection. Just give me a call. Thanks.